A young man attempted to pull a police officer's gun out of his holster so that he could kill Trump while the Republican nominee was speaking at a rally in Las Vegas on Saturday. Now, according to the 19-year-old, he'd been planning the assassination for about a year, but finally felt confident to try it at Saturday's event. So this was based on a criminal complaint that was filed yesterday in Las Vegas. The gentleman in question is Michael Sandford. He's 19 years old, and he's actually from the United Kingdom, but it looked as though he had moved to Hoboken, New Jersey, and was living there, but then flew to California. And then once he found out that Trump was going to be speaking at the Mystier Theater in Las Vegas at the Treasure Island Casino, he decided to drive there in order to attempt to murder him. Now, of course, at this rally, he started talking up a police officer, just a Las Vegas Metro police officer on scene, saying that he wanted to get an autograph from Donald Trump, and then apparently tried to wrangle the gun from him so that he could kill Trump. Of course, he was very quickly apprehended, and no further issues ensued.
Right. And a lot of people were saying, well, what a stupid idea. Why the hell would you do that? Why didn't you bring your own gun? Well, they screen you. There's obviously metal detectors. It's not easy to get a gun in there, and that's probably why he decided he would just steal a gun from a police officer, which isn't, probably the best idea for obvious reasons. Now, we know that this guy did have some, a history of mental problems. I believe he is autistic as well, so it's hard to kind of come up with a clear motive for him doing this, given those factors, for sure.
Well, yeah, definitely, and certain details have emerged as of today. As a matter of fact, yes, his parents claim that he's autistic. He's suffered in the past, has attempted suicide, I believe. The reason that he even moved to Hoboken to begin with is allegedly because of a girl that he was in love with, and then that didn't work out. So, I mean, there's all across the board, there's issues here. But I guess to me, it's just, I'm not sure how true that is, that he was planning for a year and a half, or really he'd just been thinking about it. I mean, it was only a few days before the rally that he even went to a gun range in Las Vegas to practice shooting a gun for the first time. But to me, it's just delusions of perhaps grandeur. He thought that he was going to get killed in the crossfire with police or whatever, and so it just seems like he'd had this kind of cinematic idea in his head. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's very sad when you have somebody like this. As he said, he suffered from autism. He had an obsessive compulsive disorder. He was clearly mentally ill, or is clearly a mentally ill individual. The fact that he was quite happy to die, or that's what he alleged. He wanted to grab the guy's gun, shoot at Donald Trump, aim, shoot, fired, gone to a gun range, I think for the first time ever, a couple of weeks before, right? And tried to some target practice. I mean, how serious this really was, I have to say I don't. But I mean, it is an indication. Some people would argue it's an indication as to the extent to which Donald Trump is a lightning rod, and it's not a coincidence that he was the individual that was singled out by this person. Maybe he was trying to make some kind of a statement. Perhaps he was a spurned, had these hurt feelings, emotionally upset at being spurned by his girlfriend, whatever it was. But some people would argue that it's not insignificant that it's Donald Trump that he was trying to do, because Donald Trump is a lightning rod. It seems to be that it was just a high-profile person that perhaps he wanted to, and it was not that it was indiscriminate, but it could have been, easily could have been somebody else. Reports are that he's not political in any particular way. He's not motivated in that regard, but clearly troubling, and the authorities dealt with it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was alleged that if he couldn't complete his task in Vegas, that he would have followed Donald Trump to his rally, his upcoming rally in Phoenix. So, but again, yeah, wrangling a gun from a police officer, this clearly wasn't going to end well. It might seem very silly of an attempt, but unfortunately, he's actually facing, he's been being charged with violating 2 federal laws, both assault and then act of violence on restricted grounds. If he's convicted, he could face up to 10 years in prison. So it is one of these things where, I mean, direct evidence that mental health and being wrapped up in the judicial system and this kind of thing, it's a big.
I'm curious, how Trump, the campaign, the supporters are going to react to this, and how they can possibly use this for their own gain in a way. I mean, yes, he's not from the U.S. He's an outsider, but he's a white British guy, so they can't really play the terrorism card here, obviously, because those two things don't go together.
At the same time, I could certainly see how people would justify arming themselves to the teeth when something like this happens. You know what I mean? You could easily put that spin on it as well.
I guess everyone should just be armed in Donald Trump rallies. That's the solution, more guns.
Right, exactly. Now, Donald Trump is under Secret Service protection, but I haven't heard anything, any latest news considering the kid was apprehended. So, yes, this Mr. Sandford, delusions of being able to finagle a gun from a cop and kill Trump.